In the meantime, Andrew, and apologies if I do have to cut you off at some stage, what do you make of what Starmer and a little bit of what Macron has said?
Well, I can't say I'm really all that impressed by it. Immigration is running way too high in this country, and that's both legal and illegal. So, yeah, it's great to be able to deport illegal migrants, and they shouldn't have come here in the first place, and they should never be allowed in after that. But we need to bring the overall levels of net migration down, and that this particular plan that has just been announced is not doing that.
Yes, and I mean, they will say that this is a solution, this is a deterrent. Do you feel there's any deterrent aspect in this?
I suppose there could be some form of deterrent aspect in all of this, but there was a deterrent aspect in the Rwanda scheme, and we could see that where some illegal migrants were heading towards the Republic of Ireland because they didn't want to risk being deported from the UK. But of course, Labour got rid of that straight away. Labour says that the Rwanda scheme failed, but of course, the Rwanda scheme never really got off the ground at all.
You're absolutely right, and I think there was certainly some evidence that people were going to the Republic of Ireland rather than Northern Ireland, rather than the UK, of which, of course, Northern Ireland is part. It's interesting in all of this, they're talking about this one-in, one-out deal. My question is, and I'm going to ask Theo Usherwood, our political correspondent, who's coming up a little bit later on. He's at the press conference, he's just listening to what's going on now. What happens to the other 16 people? I mean, that is a big question mark, and Starmer did not deal with that at all in what he said.
No, he didn't. He completely dodged that, Peter. So what does happen to them? Presumably they're just going to remain in the UK for a very long time. I mean, I appreciate that it takes a while to process claimants. It's only to be done inside 24 hours, but surely we should be aiming for more like 18 days rather than 18 months.
Yes, certainly. He says he's put more money into processing, but processing is such a big issue, and that's where these migrants or would-be migrants are essentially in limbo, staying in these hotels, annoying everybody as a result. I don't see, and I'd be very interested to hear what the Prime Minister says when he's asked the questions by the media who are there. Maybe Theo will get a question, I don't know. Is what actually happens to those other people? What happens to the people who are here already? Do they just keep processing them? And if more people come over and don't stop coming over on the small boats, I mean, he might say there's a deterrent, but he can't guarantee that. And he also has talked a little bit in that press conference about the shallow waters and the French officers who are using Stanley knives to deflate the boats. But we've seen one example of that. There may be more, but we've seen just one example of that so far, Andrew.
Well, I think that was just one example. I think they were just doing that just ahead of Macron's state visit to say, look, this is what we can do.
Remarkable coincidence there happened to be television cameras there at the same time.
Well, of course, yes. But I mean, was it a sort of a bargaining chip that Macron was using, Peter, to say, look, we can do this if we really want to, despite the hundreds of millions of pounds that you pay us every year to do our job? Was he using it as a bargaining chip before his negotiations with Keir Starmer? I don't know. Yeah,
it's a very, very good point. It's interesting as well when he's talking about the fact that there are so many migrants still coming. I mean, 20,000 since the start of this year, 40,000 since Keir Starmer became Prime Minister. I wonder what they will be thinking, sitting in their hotels, maybe even watching this programme or listening to this programme, thinking, am I actually at any form of risk at the moment, or is my application still going to be processed? It looks as if, for the people who are still here already, those 40,000 people who've arrived since the general election, that they are safe, essentially.
Yeah.
Their immigration status was still to be determined. They will be processed. We know that 76% of them are given asylum, and the rest, there are far fewer returned than we would be led to believe. We're told, it's thousands being returned, but many of those are voluntary. The forced repatriation is a very, very small number of people.
Yes, you're right, Peter, and I completely agree with what you're saying. Those people will remain in the UK until their status is decided. And as you say, 3/4 of the people who do come across here illegally end up staying here permanently. And I imagine that there are some people who will just disappear. They will just leave the system completely, and we know that happens on a very regular basis too.
Yeah, Andrew, listen, thanks very much for your thoughts on that.